Hello there and welcome to my YouTube channel, Julia McNeil Crafts. So today is another video on behalf of Samantha K. So I'm going to be playing with some more of her MDF goodies, and I'm planning on doing a sort of steampunk canvas, although I'm not working on a canvas. This is a piece of packaging that came in something this week and I thought it was quite a nice size. It's quite sturdy, why not try using that? And this is one of my images from JMC Designs, and this is Sid from the Quirky Birds collection, and I thought the way I coloured it looked quite steampunky, so I thought I would go with that. So I made a journal page. Oops, my wire's all caught up there, so it's not giving me much reach. That's a good start, isn't it? We're starting well. Okay, I made a journal page a few weeks ago where I'd actually embossed the journal page that I worked on, and this is just some leftover bits. So this was just some card that I ran through an embossing folder, and it's got a little bit of a sort of steampunk detailing on it, so I thought why not use that in today's project as well, just for a little bit of added texture. So I'm going to start off just by sticking some of these pieces down randomly. So as you can see, it's scrap because I've even scribbled on it, but I am going to be painting all of this in black, so it doesn't matter. It's just to give a little bit of added interest, really. So I'm just going to pop that on like so. So at the minute I have no plan. I've pulled out some goodies that I thought will work quite well. I think I'm going to split this. Okay, sorry about that. I've got my knife and I'm just going to find, I've got a little piece here, and I'm just going to chop that down a little bit. This is really good quality MDF, so it does take, you've got to spend a bit of time cutting it properly, but also because Sam manages to get her pieces so, like, I've seen her do cuts where the thinness is less than 1 millimetre. I mean, for MDF, that is just incredible. I mean, who can do that? She really is amazing at what she does. So I'm going to just stick a little bit of hot glue. I have to say my preferred method would be gel medium, but as usual I am sort of running to last minute. I had promised Sam that I would do a video every fortnight, and I've not done one I think for a month, but Sam knows why. I've had a wee chat with her and she's very understanding. But it's the holidays now. I have a little bit of a lull between the things that I was working on and what I need to work on, so I am going to get ahead with recording for the MDF. So you should be able to expect a video from me every other Monday at 11 o'clock, both on the, well, it depends which channel you're on just now, but either both on my channel, which is Julia McNeil's Crafts, and Sam's channel, which is Samantha K. So wherever you found us, please feel free to pop over to the other persons. At the minute, I don't really have a plan. I am just sort of sticking things down that I think will go nicely. I do like layering my pieces, so I am going to be doing a little bit of layering because I think it adds dimension, adds interest if we've got different heights and things. So I'm going to do that. Oops. And I've sort of, you always want to bring the eye into your centrepiece. So clearly my centrepiece is going to be round about there, although we'll probably have Sid on there as well. So you want to draw the eye in. This is what makes some things, you know, you can look at some people's mixed media and you think, wow, that really works. And then you can maybe try it yourself and it doesn't seem to work. And a lot of it is to do with the way that we maybe lay it out and the way the eye works. So the eye's automatically going to be drawn to a focal point, but if you've got a piece here and a piece up there and a piece, the eye doesn't know where to look, and so it ends up travelling all over the page, and then whatever it is doesn't make sense. So you want to help to trick the brain, or take the brain so that the eye goes where you want it to go. So in this way, this is almost like an arrow pointing down, and this is almost like an arrow pointing across. So in other words, it's saying look here. And that's what we want to try and accomplish. Now, this little bit here in the middle of the circle, that's going to bother me somewhat. So I'm just going to go in and cut that with my knife. I'll probably stick it elsewhere. But yeah, I don't mind that wee bit there, but this bit was a bit too big. So I have layered up a few elements there. And then I think what we will do next, I think we've got sort of enough to keep us going. Bit of interest there, and I think that flows quite nicely. So then, I'm trying to put my knife lid on my heat gun. That bodes well for this evening, doesn't it? Right, what I am going to do now is I'm going to paint that with black gesso, but I'll maybe just pop myself on fast forward while I do that. Okay, so that is all painted in black now, and I'm just going to pop that to the side to dry. And whilst that's drying, let's talk patina. I'm going to create some patina effects on some of these cogs. And I wanted to do this because there are loads of rust and patina kits out there, you know, that you can buy and use it to create this particular effect. Now, I am not knocking them. I love them. I think they're amazing. I don't actually have any, and the reason I don't have any is because as much as I love the steampunk patina rusty look, it's not something that I create every time I sit down crafting. So I know that if I was to purchase something like that it would go off before I've had chance to use it all. I would play with it a couple of times, it would get a couple of uses, and then it would have all dried out and gone horrible before I'd finished it. So therefore, for me, it's a little bit of a waste of money. It's not if you use it regularly. So, looking at creating patina with other products that we might have. So I might look at a few different ways of doing it. Now, I am going to use my gesso. This is 13 art, so it is really heavy bodied. So basically for the patina, we're just wanting a rust effect. So we're going to need to look at rust, a sort of a rusty browny colour, a teal colour, and either an inflection of gold or silver, whatever the original metal was. So, and there's normally, because of the rust, there is a little bit of texture as well. Now, I am a huge advocate for when you start mixed media, don't feel you have to get every product that is out there. You really don't. A good quality gel medium, a good quality white gesso, and if you can, a black gesso and a clear gesso, and you're good to go. You can do anything that you want to. Now I happen to have a texture paste here, so I am going to just add a little bit of this texture paste to various parts of the cogs, just to help me to create that rust effect. Now, the other thing you can do is if you have just a plain white gesso, is all you need to do is add a few soda crystals to it. Now, I was sure I had a box of them somewhere, but you know, you can buy them cheap as chips in the supermarkets for cleaning, and you just need to put some of that in, or something with a little bit of texture. Now, I don't have any, so what I am going to do is I'm literally, because this is quite a heavy bodied gesso, and that is why I would say invest in a good heavy bodied gesso, because then if you want, you can use your gesso as texture paste as well. So it saves you having to run out and buy a texture paste. And then after that, what I would invest in is various pigment powders, because all the different waxes and gels and the various colours that they get, absolutely fantastic. I love them. I'm not knocking them. I have some in my collection. But to start off with, if you have got a few of the basic products and a few basic pigment powders, maybe in your primary colours, you're good to go. So for this one here, I have used just gesso, but I have stippled part of it to create a texture. And on this one here, I have used a little bit of gesso and a little bit of the sand texture gel. As I said, any normal gel with a bit of bicarbonate of soda through it or something like that will create exactly the same effect. Or you know, this children's play sand, things like that. So what I'm going to do now is, again, just so that this isn't a very long video and I can spend my time talking about the things that's a bit more interest, I'm going to prime all of these and while on fast forward, and then we'll come back and look at different ways of creating that patina effect. Okay, so I have allowed these to dry. The ones on this side are just gesso, and I've sort of stippled a little bit to create a bit of a texture. The ones on this side I've got gesso and texture paste, and I have got a variety of various crafting goodies, and I'm going to try and create a patina look in various different ways and just see how we get on. So these are nail varnishes. I've just had a rake through my nail varnishes. I don't have a lot. I used to, but then when I ended up starting with gel nails, I thought they were the best things ever. I thought, I can't see me doing my nails with ordinary nail varnish again. And then, so I kind of got rid of most of them. Now, I don't have a bronzy sort of colour, so I'm hoping that if I mix this red with the cream colour that is in the other side, that we might get something. Yeah, and now I've actually lost all my gel nail polish, but to be honest, I found that the gel nails started wrecking my nails as well. So, and I always found I could never have nice nails anyway, because when I was crafting it never went quite right. So this is looking a bit too pinky, but that's okay. As I said, just if we'd had a, actually let's have a play. I reckon, because we've got primary colours here, haven't we? Okay, if I mix, so let's try the green, because in the green we've got blue and yellow. Oops. Let's see if we can get ourselves a brown here. So in the, we've got, so in green we've got blue and yellow. So if I mix in some red, we should end up with it. Yeah, they look, now we're cooking, see? So now we've got a browny colour. So that's going to, I'll just paint over. I'm never going to use these nail varnishes anyway. I bought them because they were sort of like a nail art set, and I was thinking, oh, it actually looked doable. So it's a bit of a pinkier tone, but we've got the brown in there, so that's fine. Right. A bit over, so it kind of rusts in different places, so you don't want it looking too uniform. Okay, so that's the sort of brownish look there, and then I've got the teal, some of this blue in. As I said, this is a bit redder than I would have liked, but that's just due to the colour of nail varnishes I've got. If you'd had a goldy one, then it may have worked a little bit better, but we'll get the blue going in there as well. Okay. So on these particular ones, the one with the grainy texture paste is coming up slightly better. But as I said, I didn't have any sort of baking soda, so I'm very confident that I could have created a similar thing if I'd had that. Now, I don't have a white nail varnish, but we've got this one that's slightly clearer here. That's got this sort of, so I'll try this, and then if that doesn't really work, I will just, oops, it's very heavy-handed there. Oops. Not, so I kind of want the white to blend it a little bit. So this hasn't created the best patina look, but we're experimenting to see what we can come up with, and that's okay. I reckon that if we rub that with a bit of gilding paste or something, that we could get that to work. The other thing I might just do is I have some white acrylic. She says, man, I can't open anything today. There we go. What's happening? Right, let's see. If I maybe just pop a little bit of white into that, mix it in a little bit, and make a slightly better look. Mixing nail varnish here with acrylic paint. Actually, I could stipple this because we've got the nail varnish on there. It's quite gooey, so stippling it will help to... Do you know, that has actually worked really, really well. It's just that it's a little bit too pink. I'm just wondering, let's see if we can... Oops. Throwing nail varnish here everywhere. Thankfully it's not going on my outfit. Right, let's see if we mix a bit more of this green in. That's quite disgusting now. Let's... I'll get there. It's going to bother me, but I want to be able to show you that you can do it, and it's just unfortunate that I don't have a gold. If you've got a gold or brown or natural nail varnish, this would be a lot easier. Let's just try adding a bit of blue in there as well. Oops. Still quite red. Okay. Well, I'll just leave that because I don't want to spend the whole time fiddling with that. But we've created a sort of patina look. That's okay. I think if we had the right colours, that would have actually been incredibly successful. So I will have to hunt round and see if I can find some better nail polishes sometime, and we'll try that again when we've got the right colours. Okay, for the next one I am going to use some acrylic paints. So I have some Pebeo paints here. So I've got red ochre, I'm going to pop a bit of that out, and I have some green blue, nice teal colour. So here we've got the proper colours, so hopefully this should be a little bit more successful. As I said, I think we can fix those, but I will try it again sometime. I'll see if I can, I don't know, maybe go to the pound shop or something and see if I can find some cheap nail varnishes in the right colour. So this time I'm just grabbing a little bit of a acrylic paint, and I think this will be quite successful because we've got much better colours. And what I'm doing is I'm just sort of dabbing the rust. Now the reason I've done that is because I think a stipple effect sort of works better for a patina look. We get the because it's not, rust isn't even, is it? So it's a bit more I'm thinking spasmodic, but that's not the word I'm looking for. It's a bit more random, and I think you have less control when you do it like that. So it's maybe the first layer. I think I will probably put a little bit more of the rust colour on, because we want a tiny bit of that white showing. White tends to blend into it when it really oxidises. You know, when the rust has been there for a long, long time and it begins to oxidise, that's where the white colouring comes in, but it doesn't tend to be the main colour. So I think there needs to be a little bit of it there. So we've ended up with a bit too much, so we'll just knock that back again with the rust. So we've got a little bit of it showing, and have a bit more of the blue showing. And we'll pop that over like so. And as I said, I'm kind of keeping the blue areas similar to where the white, because that is in rust, that is more where the oxidisation to happen. So again, we've got a bit of a patina look going on there, and that's just from using some acrylic paints. So I'll move on to my next one. Okay, so for this one I am going to use some pigment powders. So I have got there Luscious pigment powders. So I've got the Junk and Disorderly Verdigris, and I've got the Junk and Disorderly Poseidon Blue. So those are the two colours I've got there. Now I have discovered the easiest way for me to use my pigment inks and play with pigment inks is actually to use just a tiny bit of glycerine. I found that I got a much better stick with this than when I was trying to use my embossing pads. So I'm just taking a tiny bit of the glycerine and I'm going to paint that over the base of those. Now this has naturally got a colour shift in it, so I think we will get a really good effect from this. And this is why I really like my pigment powders. If you invest in pigment powders, you have got texture paste, alcohol markers, watercolours, acrylic paint, chalk paint. It depends what surface you put it on. You mix it in with a gesso, you've got a chalk paint. If you mix it with either like a rubbing alcohol or even vodka, you've got an alcohol ink. If you mix it with water, you've got a watercolour. If you mix it with like a gel medium or a texture medium, now all of a sudden you've got those various mediums in the various colours. So that's what I'm saying, you don't need to go out and buy all of these products in all the different colours. If you treat yourself to a few basics and a few pigment powders, you're honestly good to go. So personally, that is my tip. If you're starting out, go for the basics and treat yourself to a few pigment powders because they are so versatile. It's unreal. So these here are the Junk and Disorderly Mica powder. So I'm going to put a bit more of that teal on because I think we're losing it. Because it kind of pushes green, I'm kind of losing it a little bit. It looks, we're getting there. It's kind of more of a subtle look rather than the ones that we've done with the acrylic paints. They are really quite obvious. This one is slightly more subtle, but with the sheen on that you do get a really, really nice finish. Now I do actually have a white pigment powder. Okay, so I've got a bit of, again this is Luscious pigment powder and this is Porcelain. I'm just going to grab a bit of that white and put it on some of the elements on there, and that just give another little sheen to it. Okay, so that is that one. I am going to do a similar technique. So again, I'm still using pigment powders, but instead of the Luscious ones, I have got the Craft Box UK Colour Shift powders, and again these are quite similar because we've got the pinks and green looks in that. So let's take another two. So again we've kind of got gesso this side and texture paste this side. So as they're coming down you can see that we are getting texture in both the different things. So again I will get my glycerine, which I just tidied away, there it is. Okay, and I will pop a little bit, oops, of glycerine. It just gives it something to stick to, and as I said, for me I find I get a much better stick with this than I do trying to squish a like, because normally I'd be using like a Versamark or something, but for me I've just found this works a little bit easier. Wonders of glycerine. There are so many applications for glycerine in craft. I keep thinking I'll do a glycerine hack video at some point. Okay, so again this is the exact same principles of the last one, but this time I am using the Craft Box UK Colour Shift, and I think this one is the one that's green and red, so that's sort of really perfect for a rust effect. I can see that that's going on really well there. That does look really rusty, which is great. So I'll mix that on like so. That's really good, I'm liking that. Okay, and I think I'm going to put a tiny bit of the red in. Okay, like so. Okay, and just because these are the only two pigment powders that I have from Craftbox UK. They're the right colours and they're colour shift, which I think works really well for the rust, but don't have the blue. So I will go back to my Luscious powder just to get a tiny bit of blue in there. Oops, a bit too heavy-handed. So that's the other thing as well. They're still mica and pigment powders, so we can mix them together. They're going to play nicely together. So again, don't forget, you can mix your brands as oil. So those ones, they've got a really nice sheen to them. The good thing about the colour shift as well, that when it's on your finished project, you will find that it will shine lots of different colours. So I think we'll get a really nice rusty effect with that when that is on the project. It looks quite shiny now, but I think when it's actually on the project, that will look really quite good. So again, I am going with a Craftbox UK product. So I'll just keep working my way down so that we've got a comparison of gesso and texture paste. Hopefully just to show that there's many different ways of doing this. So this time I am going to use some Loomies. So I'm going to need to give these a little shake because they are so highly pigmented that it does all separate really easily and quickly. So the advice that Anna gave when we were at her craft retreat was just to make sure you kind of pour it out into a little palette, and I was doing that, but to be honest I was never using everything that I poured out, and that bothered me because of the wastage. And although I have been peeling bits of it off and using it on product, I would rather have it as paint. So what I have started to do is to pour it into the lid. So I'm taking a little bit of this one. This is from the Rose collection. So this time we've got a sort of liquid acrylic. Oops. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit in the lid. Okay. Look at the colours on that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. As it Marry Me Slow Mo Arts, she says that, doesn't she? I love watching her videos. Very inspiring. Okay, so this one is from, I think it's from the Tropical range. I think I bought the Rose Gold range and the Tropical range. Unfortunately, the colours aren't marked individually. But that could be because I bought it at the class and she was literally mixing it up for us there. So yeah, I've just popped a few into the lids again. So I'm going to take and make this my base colour. And really on this one I've got quite a lot of texture paste, so that is really coming through on this one, which is fabulous. So let's put that on. Like so. Okay, I'm going to grab a bit of the blue and we'll put that on. Like so. And then it sort of, try and let it mix together so it's quite organic. So that's quite good. I'm just going to give that a quick rinse and add a bit more of this goldy colour in. I'm liking these ones. I like. Those are looking really good. I like that a lot. So again, I don't have Loomies in the white, so what I may do, I'm just trying to pour that back out and into my tub. Like so. Just tidy up because I would cry if I lost a jar of these, honestly I would. Okay, and then so I'll take a little bit of acrylic, liquid acrylic here, and I'm just going to put a few touches of the white in different places, just to, you know, create that oxidized look. Just tiny touches of it, I don't want a lot. Okay, so that is those ones there. Okay, let's see what we can do now. Okay, so for the next one I am going to play with some mica powders. So these are Craft Artist mica powders and they are from the John Next Door range. So I treated myself to these because I saw him play on MDF, and because I knew that what I was going to be doing with Sam, I was like, oh, I need those. So let's have a little try with these. Now, he was using daubers, and I can't see where I've put mine. That one's quite a shiny one, so I'm not getting much colour there. So let's try some, got a darker colour there. And we could also probably try this with eyeshadow. But surprisingly enough, eyeshadow's not a thing that I have a lot of. I'd much rather buy crafting products than beauty products. So it's like when people are saying, oh, you could use this as an alternative. I was like, I could, but actually I don't have that. There's more chance of me putting like paint on my face than there is putting makeup on my face. I do have a bit, but you know, this is I like paint products. I'm just going to put a bit of black on that because actually I'm struggling to get that dark. I maybe should be using a dauber, but I honestly can't see. What have I got? Hang on. Okay, let's see if one of these sponges works a bit better. Get a bit of better coverage. Yeah, that's working a bit better. So it's not the product there, it was the way I was applying it. So again, I am going to go for a kind of rusty colour. And then I think in the other palette I should have my teal colours. Nope. Got somebody in my loft. I'm actually shut up here, so like I'm going to have to cry down for help a bit later to be let out because the cat, the little kitten, can climb far too quickly up the loft ladder, and if she got let loose in here, that would be it. We would not see her again. Because there'd be lots of nooks and crannies that she could get into that we wouldn't be able to get to her. So they've actually shut the door on me. So once I'm finished here, I am literally just going to have to be shouting at the top of the stairs in the hopes that somebody will actually hear me at some point and let me down. So that's could be interesting. Okay, actually, I really quite like those. I'm going to put a bit more, they do blend really, really well, which is lovely. Right, I'm going to put a bit more of the rusty colour on. I've got rust in this palette as well. The only thing that bothers me about these palettes, I love them, but I bought the two, so I bought the full kit. So I've got all of these, and all of these, and a lot of these are very similar colours, and to me every single colour palette that you buy should have a cyan blue, a magenta and a true yellow, because from that you can build any other colours. So whilst there are a wide array of colours here, there is no true yellow. This one has definitely got a tinge of orange in it, so this one's definitely got a tone of red, so is that one and that one. So there's no true yellow. So when it comes to being able to mix your own colours or to mix a palette properly, I don't think you can fully do that with this set. So that is my one complaint about these. I love it. I think it's really good. I love the fact that you can, look, I can show you, I can take say like a really bright, well actually let's go for the biggie. I can take a black, can you see that? And I can rub it into my white, and there's absolutely no contamination. So as a crafter, and the fact that I'm constantly contaminating products, that appealed to me. But it does bother me that there's no true yellow. So, not that I think the guy from John Next Door will actually be listening to me, but if he ever was to, I need a yellow. I need a true yellow. That's always my theory when you're buying new products, always treat yourself to the, you know, if you're not sure, buy yourself a magenta, a cyan, or the equivalent of that, you know, in whatever it is product that you've got. From that you can build whatever colours you want from that, and it gives you a chance to fully experiment with the product properly. But if it's not in a product, I'm not happy, to be honest. Right, so that is with just ordinary mica powders. I'm looking at these and I'm thinking that these two are my favourites. So that's the Loomies and this pigment powder. And then probably the next one is the sort of mixed ones there. I think on my project I'll be using all of these ones because tonally they go quite well. These ones maybe not so much, but let's see what happens when we sort of add a bit of either gilding wax or a bit of metallics to it, and we'll see how we get on there. I'm just going to finish colouring these ones off camera. Okay, so I have to say, now that I have dried these off a little bit, my favourite's the nail varnish. Not colour wise, but obviously me being me, I was a little bit impatient and so ended up just drying these off with the heat gun. These bubbled up and sunk back down so beautifully that the texture is incredible, and I think with the right colours these would be my favourite. So I am so nipping into town at some point and getting some more nail varnishes. I'll maybe go to Primark or the Pound Shop or something and see if I can pick up some nail varnishes that are good colours for creating patina, because I think we could end up with a really, really good, fun look. I think possibly the Loomies next, and then maybe these ones, and then the mixed things. I think they're all really pretty and they're all right, but I'm desperate to try that with colours that will actually work. Now, sorry, my daughter is shouting her father, and all I can hear is screams. So if that is coming up, then I am sorry. Right, I think what I'm going to do is down this side, I am going to use some Pebeo gilding wax. So I just like, I don't know, I like a little bit of the gold, and I do think that sort of finishes it off. So I don't want too much. I'm just going to add a little bit of gold to some of these. So on this side, as I said, I am using Pebeo gilding wax, and the great thing about Pebeo is it is designed for furniture, so a little bit goes a long way, and also once you've applied it, if you buff it up, you get a really good shine. So I am just going to continue doing that with these ones, and then I will be back. Okay, so on this side, that is where I have used the Pebeo gilding wax. What I'm going to do on the other side is, this is where I'm saying, if you've got your basics like a gel medium and pigment powders, the world's your oyster. So for this, I'm just taking a tiny bit of gel medium. This is indigo blue, slap it on. So, and I'm just going to pop that into my palette there, maybe put it in the centre so it's easier to mix. And then I am taking, this is Craftbox UK Metallic Gold Pigment, because this is literally liquid gold. It's the most amazing stuff. I love it. So I'm just taking a tiny amount of that and I'm going to mix it in here. Now again, I think a really nice gold nail varnish could do a similar trick, but I don't have that, so we will start playing with nail varnish in another video. But with this here, so now I have managed to create a texture paste, a gold texture paste from a little bit of pigment powder and some of my gel medium. This is why I love gel mediums and all, not gel mediums. Yeah, this is why I love my pigment powders. It's like, go and get some of your basics that you need, you know, get a good gel medium, good gesso, and a couple of pigment powders, and honestly, you don't need all the gazillion products that are on the market. I mean, it's nice to have them, I'm not knocking them, I've got a fair few of them myself, so I'm not knocking them. Now what's quite nice about this is, because this is a gel medium, I'm actually managing to create texture, because I'm just sort of dabbing it on, so I'm getting quite a bit of texture doing that, which is kind of working with the whole rust theme as well. So maybe actually what we could have done, I'm thinking now that what I might do is just redo, oh, I've actually got some more cogs in the bag. I'm wondering whether, when we use the colour shift pigment powders and that there, whether we should have mixed them into gel medium like that, whether that would have made a difference. Let's have a wee, we can have a wee try. I'll not video me mixing it all up and everything, but we can just, once I've got it mixed up, we can have a little play of putting it together, see what that looks like. Why not? Let's experiment. Let's get all our products out, use what we have a little experiment. You know, if all of this went really wrong and it was hideous and I absolutely hated it, that's where your gesso comes in. Bit of black gesso and we're back to a blank canvas and we can start again. So never be afraid to play. This is how we learn, by playing. You know, I hadn't even thought of mixing the pigment powders with the gel medium for actually doing the base, but because I started doing it here, which is not something I would have normally done, but I was trying to do an experimental sort of video. Normally I would have just automatically gone for my waxes, but because I've now done that, I suddenly thought, oh, maybe I could try this. And this is kind of what happens. And I'm just liking the way I can build a bit of texture on that, which is really cool. So what I'm going to do is go mix up, I think what I am going to do is mix up one of the colour shift from Craftbox, the blue from, the blue from, indigo blue, and the colour shift from Craftbox UK, and I'm going to get some blank things and we can have another quick little play. Okay, so I've got my colours there all mixed up, so let's see how we get on. I'm just going to spread a bit of that, the two-tone one, so that is a Craftbox colour shift one, and I think that's sort of green, it colour shifts between green and red, so I'm going to put that on first. Now the other thing is this gel medium dries clear, so at the minute it's looking slightly more white than it would do if it was just, than it will when it dries. And as I'm applying it, I am just sort of patting down. So this hasn't had any primer on like the other ones had. I'm literally just going straight in with my mixed up product and tapping it, and then we are getting quite a bit of texture. I'm going to stick a bit of the gold on as well. I actually think that could work really well. I think that could be a new favourite technique. So you've seen me do that one. I will just finish off using up what I've made on the rest of the cogs and we will be back. Okay, so let's get back to the main project now and using all the elements that we've got to create something. So I am again going to use my glycerin. I just want to put, I'm going to pretty much put this on as if I was dry brushing, because I want it to catch bits of the canvas, but I don't particularly want it to cover everything. So I'm just going to, as I said, you've got to be careful with this because you can put too much on quite quickly. I've probably put too much on there, but we'll just knock that back with a cloth. So I'm just putting bits and pieces around. I'm wanting to bring out the texture in that embossing that I did, so I'm kind of picking those areas, and I may just put a little bit over some of the MDF as well. Okay, and then I'm thinking that what I will do is grab a dry brush, and I'm going to go for the Junk and Disorderly Verdigris, because I think that gives quite a nice rusty effect, and I'm just going to add some of this. Actually, I might use a few different colours. I'm going to use some of this and let it catch those elements, just so that we've got a little bit of colour going on in the background as well. Otherwise, all the colour is on the elements that we've just made, which is great. But we just need it all to sort of blend in a little bit. So just adding a bit of colour with that. I actually think I'm going to mix some of my colours up and build up a few different layers, but we can really see that. I'm going to actually let's put it quite heavy in there, why not? Make it a focal point. And we'll just have bits and pieces of it in various parts of the project, like so. I don't really have a plan, I'm just sort of playing and seeing what's happened. So I'm going to blend that with some of the one from the Craftbox UK. Again, this is a two-tone one, but it's slightly pinkier. Although it's showing green there, so I might take... It's alright, it's nice to have the different tones. It's nice to have the different tones. I'm going to just put it round, because it is slightly dark, I'm just going to put it round the edge of that. Okay, and we'll see how we go with this. Oops. I'm quite liking it so far, so it's all good. It's all good. Oops. A bit heavy-handed with that now. Okay, and let's put on some of the pink as well. Why not? And I may even put a bit of the gold in. Okay, so that's all just looking a bit green, and we've got quite a few pinky. Ooh, my, it's brighter than I was expecting. It's okay. It's okay. I can live with that. So you can see where I've put the glycerine, it's definitely picking up better than the areas that I've not done that. So I do find that's a really good. I find it a good tip for using my pigment powders. I like it, and I find I get a much more controlled effect with it than I do when I try and use like a Versamark or something like that, because I don't have. You can get a Versamark pen. I used to have one years ago, but I don't have one now. But this just helps to do that. And I also think I might just put in a little bit of this copper, because this is like an antique gold, and this is again from Craftbox UK. So I'm just introducing lots of different colours, and hopefully it's bringing out that texture, just adding a little bit of interest to the project, which is quite nice. So I'm keeping it heavier. Again, I'm keeping the colours and everything much heavier around the actual focal point. So again, what I was saying earlier about drawing the eye in, and this is the sort of thing that helps to draw the eye in. You can get a bit of gold in there as well. Actually, I'm liking that sort of catching the edges of all the MDF, which is making that stand out, because this is the thing, we put it all on to get all these different textures, and then sometimes we end up knocking it all back, which we need to, but then we need to do something to bring it back together, and quite often this is maybe where dry gessoing comes in, but I am actually managing to catch the edge of that MDF, and I think that's kind of bringing it to life a lot more. So let's do that. And also, because I've kind of gone on black, it's going to be very difficult to create the sort of shading effect that I would normally do around a feature point or around the edges of things. So we need to find other ways of highlighting it when we kind of maybe do something slightly different. But yeah, I think that's really helped to bring out those MDF pieces. And as I said, we've got a lot of interest now going on around. I do love pigment powders. They are so versatile, as you'll have seen so far. I'm also just kind of putting a little bit of that just into the centre of some of these circles. Okay. I am liking what we have so far. Right, I also want the main focal point to be this frame, so I am going to fully gild that. So again, I'm getting my gilding wax. This is the Empire Gold, but I really must get the one that's I can't remember what it's called. The one that's more of a it looks like more of an antique rose gold, because I think that sort of colour actually probably would have worked better in this, but I don't have it. So we'll just I'll just have to go with what I have, but I think we'll still end up with quite a interesting piece. I'm putting that, normally I go quite gently, but I do really want this to be the feature piece, so I am going on quite heavily because I do want it properly covered. What I actually might do to create a bit of a rose gold look is maybe we can just sort of brush some of the pigments onto that once we're done. It's amazing this is just a piece of packaging as well, isn't it? I love the fact that you can take something that, you know, was pretty much done, ready to go in the bin, and you can make something really beautiful out of it. Right, I'm going to take a cloth and just buff that, because as I said, this is furniture grade wax, so it does help to create a really nice shine. Okay. So we have Sid, who's going to sit on that. I'm just wondering whether to put bits of gold on some of these elements as well. Maybe like the keys, so that they're pointing towards the, yeah. I was mentioning about drawing the eye in, and it just helps to maybe emphasise the keys above the other thing, and just pull that in slightly. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Oops, wrong cloth for this. This is a great cloth. This is actually one of the, I had it when I was like nursing my daughter. One of the things you prop over your shoulder to protect yourself from baby sick. Not the most lovely crafty item, but you know. Okay, so I have got Sid just there. So I think I'm going to pop him on, because I definitely want him there. I may have to look at some way of doing shading, because he's a little bit lost. But yeah, we'll work on that. I will find something to make it work. Right, just getting my hot glue going again, because it's been sat there a while. Okay, let's put him down. Little Sid, steampunk Sid. I think he's so cool. I think I deliberately sort of drew him quite steampunk looking, that he's almost like made out of old, rusty parts. That's kind of how I drew him when I had him in my head. That's sort of kind of what I had in mind. So it's great. That's the nail varnish one. I love how that's turned out. Actually, it works. It's not turned out too pinky looking at all even, so that's great. So let's have a little fiddle about with some of these pieces that we've got, and really help to go to town on this now. He's no feet. So I need to just find some way. I'm going to stick those bottom ones down, because I like where those are. I like where that's going. So I'm going to stick those down. Like so. Oh, I've enjoyed this. It's been ages since I've sat and properly crafted. I've been so busy with sort of crafty stuff, but not actually sitting playing crafty stuff, so it just feels so nice to be up here playing again. It really does. I'm just trying to see what bits and bobs I've got. I also think a bit of sparkle would be quite nice, you know, let's get some gems in here and stuff like that. Why not? Right. These are fun. I really love how my cogs have turned out. And actually I was sitting there thinking, oh, I'm not going to be able to use them all together because they're slightly different colour tones. Most of the colour tones have turned out pretty similar. The only ones that are a bit different are those ones. But actually they go with my wee Sid. So I think even though they are all different colours, they are sort of working together okay. Which is awesome. Still not got used to this hot glue gun and threads. That's a bit of a learning curve for me. So I'm just sort of getting there with that. I love the fact that I've got lots of different layers. So I have the MDF that I've originally put down, and I've coloured that differently to how I've done the cogs, and it's all just sort of adding lots of layers of interest to the project. Okay, what else do we have? Let me see. I think possibly something with this this key here could be quite quite nice. Maybe. Maybe. Just trying to get the arrangement so that you like it. Yeah, it does need a bit over there. Okay. Right, I think I'm going to stick these bits down, have a little bit of look in my crafty stash for other maybe little bits of embellishments or florals or something like that, just to kind of finish it off. I think what we're also lacking is a bit of an edging, so I think I'll most likely do that with gilding wax, so maybe we can do that just now. And we can see how we get on, but I'm actually really happy with how this has turned out so far. I think we are needing, where should I put a cog? Where did I have it originally? Up there. We are needing to emphasise him a little bit, so I somehow do need to, where's my black gesso? We need to just darken a little bit of an area behind him because we have lost him. There's not enough contrast now between him and the background. So I'm just going to, I kind of caught his beak a little bit there, but that's alright because I'll probably do some splashes and stuff anyway. Hopefully you can just see the difference that has made. He was just disappeared slightly. He'd kind of, you couldn't really see him, but just creating a little bit of a shadow around him, suddenly he pops out. So it's not much of a difference, but it's amazing just these few little tweaks make. So basically what happens with dark colours is they recede to the background. So when dark recedes to the background, the bright automatically comes forward. So because we had colour on colour, it all just merged into one and we lost him. But because now we're just popping a little bit of dark, and I'm literally just going round the edges of where he's sat, and because now we have that bit of dark, it's pushing the colour, which is him, forward, and now all of a sudden he pops off the page so much more. So that's quite a neat little trick. Actually, I've managed to pull that up, but that's okay. I'll glue him back down, but it just means I can get in there and just sort of darken those little bits up just a tiny little bit, and it still works with the project. We've not lost any of the detail. We've still got that brightness that's drawing attention to it, but we have made him now we can suddenly see him, whereas we'd kind of lost him. So I hope that sort of makes sense. Right, I need to glue his legs back down because we've moved things about there, so let's stick him back down, and as I say, I'm just going to try and get some final bits and pieces just to sort of finish this off a little bit. Okay, so I've had a little hunt around my craft room for some final embellishments, and I found some. I was playing with paper clay with my daughter last week sometime, and we made a whole load of leaves and things like that. So I just saw them and thought they were quite pretty. As you can see, this one started its life lime green, and the other one was sort of like a minty green. But what I've done is the Lumi paints that we were using, I have just painted over with the same blue Lumi paint and added a little bit of gold gilding wax, just so we're matching the colour scheme that we have had so far. And I'm just going to tack, because I quite like florals with steampunk, to be honest. I think that looks quite interesting. So I've always quite liked that. So I thought I'll add a few little florals in, and then see how we go with that. I'm going to have to stick another glue stick in, I think. Okay. We're getting there. We are getting there. I think we're on the home straight anyway. No idea how long this video is going to be. Guess I'll find out when I go downstairs and start to edit it. Okay. So, yeah, we've got a few. So, just softening it a little bit. So, I've also found some little roses. I had bigger ones, but they didn't seem to, because I think because the image I've chosen as well is quite steampunky as opposed to soft steampunk, where, you know, where it's like girly. As you know, you can get ones where you've got beautiful, elegant women in it as well, or you know, you've got the roses and the cogs sort of thing. We've got a little bit of that in the embossing paper, but not really anywhere else. So I didn't find the big flowers were working overly well. So I've just got a couple of little flowers just to sort of tuck in here, and as I said, I may put a bit of gold gilding wax. I'm at the weird stage with my glue gun where the new one hasn't quite pushed in, and you're kind of having to hold the glue with both hands, which makes it very difficult for actually trying to glue something down. Okay, oops. We have that. Brought in a little bit of the pink, because actually some of the cogs have got some pink in them as well. Now what else did I find? I've got these little metal keys, which I thought I could add to the mix. I quite like the fact that we've got similar things. So we've got the MDF keys, and then we've got little, well actually I don't think they are metal keys, I think they're probably little plastic ones. But well, I thought we'll just layer some of the keys together. Not quite got enough glue on that. Be glad when this second glue stick is sort of attached itself. Found its way to where it's meant to be. Make life much easier. Okay, so I've got another key here which I can place on this key. And again we're sort of layering up our effects, which I think is quite nice. Actually just thinking, yeah, I'm going to pull this one off because I've ended up with the key facing a different way to the key underneath. So if I put that one there, let's see if I can get this glue off it. Yeah, I can. I'm going to have to pick away at some of these glue threads. Definitely not mastered the removal of glue threads. Does anyone have any tips on that? Okay. Take that spare bit of glue off there. Okay, I also have found this, which I think would make quite a nice corner feature, so maybe or should it come down slightly? Yeah, I think I prefer it further down. Okay. So we can kind of have it coming out from, it's almost like this, a cog attaches to the main, we've got the main piece here, which is like one big cog, and then it's almost like that one attaches to it. Okay, and this thing this is one of these things that has been in my stash for probably about 10 years. And it's one of those things you spent a lot of money on because these embellishments were more expensive, and then just never used on anything. So we need to use it. I like the fact it's got a little dangly bit there as well. I think that's cute. Okay, now I've got these little, I'm trying to remove all these glue things. I've got these little metal sort of steer things as well, because I'm liking the fact that we've got like our faux patina sort of look, but I think like some actual metal on the project as well is quite nice. I know it's quite common to sort of have all these things and all the different metal embellishments and then just paint all over them so that they all look, you know, and then do a paint effect over it, which is kind of what I did for the base of it. But I do quite like a contrast of the different materials and being able to visibly see that you've got different materials. Mind you, that technique of black gesso and stuff is great if you've got like, you know, old buttons that you don't like, or I use quite a lot of my daughter's old broken toys or broken jewellery. It's great for that because it doesn't all have to match. You just need to sort of pop it down. So I'm thinking, I've got 3 of these and I'm thinking of my rule of 3s, and also the fact that the way I like the eye to be drawn in. So in that case I need one in this corner somewhere and one up here somewhere. So, yeah, I think maybe up there. Okay, so I'll pop that one there. Oops. I'll pop that one there. And then maybe this one down here. Okay, I am needing to draw the eye in. It's bothering me that we've no frame on this, and I do think anything framed makes such a difference. I know I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's like when you have a photo, you can have a photo that you really, really like, and then the difference when you suddenly put it in a frame is huge. Okay, so I was going to do it with gilding wax, but let's do it with this pen. I'm probably pressing too hard, just to, so we get a fairly neat edge to this. But I think this will make the world of difference once we have something that draws our eye in. Again, all this is tricks to do with the eye, what we want the eye to focus on. So we are deliberately, now I've got a bit of a rough bit there, but I think that's quite good, it adds extra texture. We are deliberately forcing the eye now, as soon as we put a frame around it, we're deliberately forcing the eye to look into the centre. And so all of a sudden, oops, it starts seeing things completely differently because the eye is forced to look within the centre. So now all the feature bits that we're wanting it to look in, it suddenly becomes much easier to do that because the eye's drawn in. It's pulling it in. So I'm just going to redo this corner bit so that we've got it nice and defined. And I'm glad I did the pen because we've got nice straight lines instead of the gilding wax would have been a bit lumpy. Okay. Oops. Now, I think we're almost on the home straight. I am just going to get a sentiment, and then I think I'm going to do a combination of black splashes in that I've accidentally put a mark on his thing, so I need more black splashes to make it look more deliberate, and I think I'll dry them off and then put some gold splashes on it too, and I think that could be us done. Okay, so I've got this sentiment from Tim Holtz. I've actually mounted it on a bit of card so that I can glue it down, and it says, "Of course I talk to myself, sometimes I need an expert opinion." I think that's quite funny. So I'm going to put a tiny bit of glue just on the front of it on this side, and then I'm going to put a blob of it there, and that's because I just want to tuck it behind him and then stick it down over here. Except I've not put the glue far enough over, never mind. Pop it down now. We can make it work, don't worry. Right, oops, over a little bit. Right, okay, and I've decided that actually what I need to do is dry gesso this, but with black gesso, because I am really liking it, but there is quite a lot. We've got the dark, which is great, and then we've got quite a lot of bright colours, and I think it's just needing tied together ever so slightly. And I don't want to lose the dark colours too much, so I'm taking a bit of the black gesso, I'm knocking most of it off. When I dry gesso, I'm holding it at the end of the paintbrush because I don't want to go in too heavy, and I am just flicking quite fast. So I'm just going to do this. It's just going to give a little bit of a black edging to a lot of the elements that we've put down. It's just going to knock that back ever so slightly, which will just, I think, tie it together. I think we've just got a little bit too much of contrast of lots of colours going on, so I just want to bring it back. I'm also just picking up loose glue threads as I find them. So I think it's just going to tie it together a little bit. It's just needing, hope you know what I mean, it's like we've got, we want the bright to stand up from it, we absolutely do, but it's just almost like there's so much colour going on that it's, the eye's just like going, oh! It doesn't, we've done all these like sort of clever tricks of to get it to look where we want it to look, and now there's sort of like that much going on colour wise with regards to everything that we want it to look at, that it's just a bit too much, and we need to tie it together to make it all look like one. And I think this is quite often where these gesso tricks really work, really come into their own. I'm trying not to go too heavy handed because obviously we're playing with black gesso here and not white gesso, so you know it will have quite an effect quite quickly. I just think that just might help to tie that, blend that together a little bit so it's not quite so offensive on the eye. I feel like I want a little, yeah, a little cog or something there. Let's put that in. And then finally what I will do is I will add some gold splashes. I'll just give that a bit of an edging. Just holding it because I've just stuck it down. Okay, we are getting there. So gold splashes. I have my gold pigment powder here and my little, let's see, got a little tub here. Okay, just going to put a little bit of water in there and get some of this stuff. Honestly, this stuff is like liquid gold, it's so nice. Okay, get some, let's just get some, I don't think I can make things without splashes. That was really funny when we went to the retreat because everything I made had splashes on it. It was never part of the it was never part of what we were meant to be doing, but all of my stuff ended up, I mean look at that, it's just like gold in a pot. So I do love it. The advantage of this is because I've just added water, it doesn't matter that I've mixed up quite a lot because I can reactivate it with water again. Whereas when you use the gel mediums, obviously once they're dry, that's it. So that's why when I actually did that and I used the gel medium earlier, I scraped the leftovers into my art journal because I wanted, yeah, I didn't want to waste it. I'm just going to try and get a slightly thicker dry. Find one that'd be a bit, I just want, I'm liking it, but we're just needing, I see now it's too dry. I'm just needing my splashes to be a bit bigger. It's such a lovely gold, this. And because I have used it on, you know, some of the other elements, it ties in really nicely. Okay, I'm going to scrape as much of that down the side of the pot because I don't want to waste it. Absolutely love that stuff. Okay, I'm going to just clear my desk a second and then we can have a little look. Okay, so that is my project finished for today, Steampunk Sid, with some gorgeous MDF from the lovely Samantha Kay. So if you find me at Juliet Nail Crafts, please do pop over because Samantha has a whole team of people providing inspiration, so you'll enjoy it over there. And if you find me on Sam's channel, please do consider popping over and seeing me. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed it here. If you have, please do consider liking and subscribing, and I'll be back again very soon. Okay, take care then, and goodbye.